Hello, everyone, and welcome into The Drive, brought to you by Heroes Sports Grill and Entertainment Center. Heroes is the official sports grill of The Drive and the place to be in downtown Bangor, and at heroesportsgrill.com. An abbreviated show today after Red Sox baseball. They win yet again, winners of 6 straight, I believe. Aaron Jackson, Mark Paulette
sweeps
on these airwaves. They are just rolling right now, and I mean players like Anthony Siegler and...
Name me some more, Aaron.
Name
me that shortstop.
Yeah, that guy. They're killing it right now, and wow, I mean, they're just so good at baseball.
Hey, Wally didn't even have to put the broom away. Just kept it out between Anaheim and Chicago. Just kept sweeping away those opponents or wherever he lives inside the Green Monster.
I wanted to say Sue Lin, and I know that's not right.
Oh, that is a blast from the past.
Know. What is his name? It's TSU. I know the first name.
Suche Cheng, I believe.
Suche Cheng.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I had it right the first time. Couple of hits, couple RBI last night.
Yeah.
Gotta get used to these guys because they're winning baseball
Andrew
games.
Monasterio. I mean, we made fun of him, and then he goes out and hits a homer that night. Just
what did Will say at the end?
Eating crow.
What did Will say at the end of the game?
This is a fun season, Mark.
Yes, that made us both look at each other and just chuckle.
It's a fun.
This is turning into a very fun season. Remember 6 games ago before they started winning baseball games, what it felt like?
Yeah, so they are, what's their record now?
43 and 48. We are within 5 of 500.
Yeah.
We can get as close as 2 before the break.
Ooh.
But, hey, they're going to Flushing right now, or Queens, Flushing Meadows, Queens, wherever Citi Field is at. And the Mets are as bad as anybody out there. They're one of the few teams that have been worse than the Red Sox for most of the year.
Yeah. Somehow the Red Sox will find a way to lose 2 or 3 or something ridiculous.
Anything is possible.
That is true.
Let's be serious for a second off the top of today's show because they have won 6 straight. They've won 11 out of 13.
Sure.
Is there any world that you start to feel tickled? Because you asked me that the other day, and my answer was simply no. Like, look at the lineup, and you can be excited for a playoff push, I guess, with how bad the American League is, but the push is the only part of the excitement that you can get behind, because if this team happened to wind up in the postseason, the pitching's fantastic, but they're winning or losing every game like 1-0 or 2-1. They just can't score runs consistently. I know they're doing it right now, but there is nothing around this team short of going out and acquiring 3 more bats at the deadline that would make me actually believe like they can make a push for it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just don't see how it can happen because of the lineup. Like, if you go, why don't you pull up today's lineup? Because I was watching the game at home and thinking to myself, like, Brett Harris, it took me approximately 5 minutes.
Utility player who got acquired from the A's last week.
Right, like I was like, Harris? Who the heck is Harris? It took me about 5 minutes to figure out who it was. Of course, they had just acquired him and sent him to AAA because the Athletics had no use for them and they had DFA'd him.
Yeah, and of course, Wilson Contreras began his 5-game suspension today, got a knockdown from 7 to 5, so he's missing in the middle of the lineup. It's looking even lighter there in the middle. You had Romy Gonzalez batting cleanup today, hitting .310 since coming back, but he's only been active for a week and a half. It was Siegler leading off, Rafaela batting second, Abreu batting third, who is down to 260 after a 1-for-4 today. Gonzalez fifth, Caleb Durbin, hadn't had a hit in a couple of days, but keeps slugging. Had the 2 runs today.
Yep.
Hit it over the wall in batting fifth. Monasterio in the 6 hole, an 0-for-4, bringing him down to 217 for the year. Nate Eaton in the 7 hole. He went 0-for-1 before getting pitch hit for because he's 0 for his last 18 and batting 138. Brett Harris in the 8 hole, who went 0-for-2 and has a whopping 0.000 average now for the season. And Connor Wong in the 9 hole, who is hitting .295 this year, but it is entirely on the strength of singles.
Yeah, he just doesn't hit for much power. You're right. So no, you list that lineup, and I say, okay, you get to the playoffs, and the reason they're going to get there, if they were to get there, which they're not, is the pitching, right? We all know this.
Which is like you wake up and you realize, oh, Red Sox pitcher is going to be great tonight.
Right.
Because that's just how it goes. Jake Bennett to today's starter, Patrick Sandoval on a mound for a first time in 2 years and 4 1/3 with 1 earned.
Okay, let's play this theory out. Wilson Contreras is back in the lineup. Let's add him in. and you're in a first round series against, I don't know, the Rays. The Rays are probably going to get a bye. Let's say the Yankees. That'll be fun. And you're looking at game 3 and you're saying to yourself, Jake Bennett is going to be our starter tonight. Like, if that's the world that you live in and you think to yourself, I'm going to take that, I just don't know how you buy it. Like, even if you say, and I think what ultimately is happening here is Craig Breslow, for all his faults, and Andrew Bailey, who is the only guy that managed to survive the tsunami, they clearly have figured out something as it relates to pitchers. Now, it doesn't work for everybody. We saw last year that Walker Buehler was immune to the ability of them to figure it out. Dustin May, immune to that.
Yep.
But a lot of these guys come in, and all of a sudden they do something, they coach him up. Like, if Craig Breslow, like, don't fire the guy from being your baseball operations president. Maybe say, hey, we're going to have you be the GM of the pitching staff.
Yeah, you need an offensive DH in the GM room is what you need, because that man cannot figure out how to put together a roster with players to put forth a competent lineup on a night-to-night basis. So he can give you a couple. But I mean, like, even last year's team was flawed when they got to the playoffs. It was a fantastic first game there when Garrett Crochet took the mound at Yankee Stadium and just mowed down the Yankees that night. And that was the end of the Red Sox season, because that was the end of basically their competitiveness last year. It kind of ended after him. It was still a flawed team that struggled to score runs, certainly not as much as this year's team. But the pitching is not just good enough to make the playoffs. The pitching is good enough to win a World Series if you had Garrett Crochet in there.
I would debate that with you, because we've seen
look at the numbers.
Yeah, but we've seen in the playoffs, like if you look up Sonny Gray's career playoff numbers.
Yeah, it's not great, but Ranger Suarez is really good there.
Yeah, but he's really bad the second half of seasons, and he hasn't have a ton of playoff experience.
Speaking of him, IL today.
Yeah, and then you're relying on Tolley or Early or Bennett, guys who have very little to no playoff experience.
I mean, all I'm saying is the pitching is showing up. That was where, coming into the season, the bulk of my confidence was with this team and why I picked them for 90 wins. And the pitching that this team possesses should be used for like 100 to 110 win club.
Yeah, it's a good staff.
They've got the horses out there. Yeah. And they are just wasting it. Up until the last really 13 games that they've won 11 of, they've wasted it through the first 90.
Yeah, this is not a team that can make hay in the playoffs, no matter how you're feeling right now. And I would point out, by the way, the Red Sox did something very similar this time last year before the All-Star break.
10-game win streak.
That made us believe they were going to be buyers, and they should be buyers, and then they went out and they fell flat on their face when it mattered. And I just, did they get there? Sure, but like you said, other than Garrett Crochet, I mean, they were pretty much embarrassed by the Yankees. Like it's not like they were bottom of the barrel, and a lot of this is just having, like, mediocrity is now celebrated in baseball as a playoff team, and that is to the detriment of baseball in my mind. Because right now you look at the wild card standings and you say, okay, if you make it to 500, you're a wild card team, and I'm sorry, but in what world? Like, I was taught growing up, like, if you want to be a good player and you want to be a playoff team, a team that deserves accolades after the regular season, you've got to be able to do like 60% of the things correctly.
I'm pretty sure the 04 Red Sox were a wild card team that I want to say won like 96, 98 games, like some ridiculous amount before, back when you just had the one. Yeah. Like it was just them getting in.
It's just, I hate it. And I hate it in basketball, and I'm not necessarily enjoying it much in football either. We just continue to expand the playoffs and reward bad teams. And that's what this Red Sox team is. And you feel hope because they're closing in on that wild card spot. But then you look at, okay, well, who's leading your division? And it's the Tampa Bay Rays. And how many games are they ahead of you by? 12? Is that the number right now?
Maybe you've chipped into it a little bit, but hey, we got to keep an eye on Toronto here because, again, the Red Sox refuse to lose. So the watch for third place is still alive, baby.
So there you go. To really take a long form way of answering your question, my answer is no.
Let me follow that or counter that with a soundbite from Sean McAdam, who is talking about John Henry here feeling the pressure. And what do we know when John Henry feels pressure? A reactionary move comes from it.
Yeah,
I think we see the promise of the last couple, but I have to actually see it happen before I believe it at this point.
I mean, he already blew up the entire coaching staff. So like he already had some frustration there. Hey, listen, if his frustration leads to him opening his little penny pincher pocket in the offseason, great. But if it leads him to go out there and acquire a guy who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year to be your middle of the order bat for this team, that's not so great.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that at this point, it seems like their biggest swings are kind of like Alex Bregman last year. Like, we'll give you a bunch of money for like 1 year or 2 years and something that isn't going to hamstring us in the long haul. We're not actually going to get uncomfortable, though, and bring in talent to try to win.
Like, imagine if you had Pete Alonso as your DH right now. I mean, that's just like
20 homers in the lineup.
A simple solution right there. If you had simply taken him, put him in this lineup.
And as good as the pitching has
been. Or Munetaka Murakami.
And the pitching has been fantastic other than really two names, right? Brian Bayo and Johan Oviedo, who probably most fans don't even remember at this point was in the rotation to begin the year.
Right.
But the pitching has been so good and shown such depth between Early and Tolle, and now a guy like Jake Bennett coming into the fold that you're going 3 arms deeper than you thought you would have, kind of shows that the Ranger Suarez money was misallocated, that money, you didn't need to waste $130 million on a pitcher. It was so much more necessary and needed in the lineup. And like, just trade out Pete Alonso for Ranger Suarez. This team probably has a few more wins, right? Because that power in the lineup is so much important to their cause and what they need.
I mean, you go back to the stat that you keep throwing out there about how, 3-1, when they score 3 or more runs.
3 or more runs, they're on a 113 win pace.
Right. And, who helps you score 3 or more would be Pete Alonso. I mean, your pitching depth would be even a little more tested than it is right now, but you would have seen your way through it.
You've got arms.
And we knew that. That's been the case the entire time, and they've had a ton of tests to their depth with Bayo going out, with Crochet hurt. Like, you've had a ton of tests to that depth, and it's survived that because it was built to survive that, and Ranger Suarez was a luxury.
A luxury that you didn't need, yeah.
Better yet, just you could have signed them both. Like, you could have put your money where your mouth is for the first time in years and actually said you were going full throttle as opposed to, like, touching the gas and getting up to 10 miles an hour.
And that ultimately is the most annoying part of this all, is that they are the Boston Red Sox. They can still get whatever player they wanted to if they wanted to have that mindset, that attitude with it. Before we leave the Red Sox topic, though, here and go to break, Roman Anthony in the last couple of days has been transferred down to Florida to continue his rehab. And, of course, something like that happens. You expect Felger, who we do have a soundbite from, trying to connect some dots that maybe are more conspiracy or speculation than hard fact. Here's 2 names, 2 voices that we trust very much on this program, though, and have them on as guests. Sean McAdam and Chris Cotillo. Again, it's pure speculation on the part of Chris, but see if you buy into what he's talking about. It's when Sean comes in at the end that I'm like, oh, if he's saying that, then there's got to be something there.
I'm Team Roman, by the way, for what it's worth. Like, I don't know his status, but what I will tell you is if my cat sprained his ankle tomorrow and I severely dislike this cat, I would not let the Red Sox front office treat him.
Well, and that's the interesting part, right?
The medical staff, I should say.
All along, he's just kind of had that benefit of the Red Sox screwed it up. Like, the Red Sox have screwed this thing up so royally from the beginning of saying he's going to be down for a couple of days to 10 days on the IL, and then he's right back to extending out to months where we're at now. This is the first bit of anything that I've heard kind of to the counter, though, that maybe he's not attacking it with the aggression necessary, or maybe he's distracted a little bit by Boston life and not trying his hardest to get back onto the field. And again, they're saying it's all speculation, but the fact that those 2 are talking about it, at least in my mind, lends it more credence than, just a blogger or someone out there. Yeah,
I don't think they would say that if they didn't strongly feel that way. But you'll notice Connor Early goes on the IL with some arm issues and
inflammation.
Like 2 days later, he's getting a second opinion. Now, normally when guys get second opinions, it's after a week or 2, I feel like. But he was just like, no, like, Red Sox, I don't trust you for a second. And so I'm going to go get a second opinion from someone that's not associated with. Why, like, in what world would a player trust this Red Sox medical staff right now, given the track record over the last few years of just being terrible?
I don't even know that it's the medical staff as much as it is just the team struggling with communication and kind of hanging the players out to dry by when they get injured saying, it's no big deal, they'll be right back. They're going to rub some dirt on it, they're going to play through it, and as a player, that's part of the mindset that you have. You don't want to give up the opportunity of being out there because then someone else can take your job.
Wally Pip.
But at the same time, do you really want to go out there and put your health on the line when you know that the team isn't necessarily going to have your back from their mouthpiece, i.e. Sam Kennedy, who's just going to come out and say like, oh yeah, he's dinged up, but he'll be back out there. Don't worry about it. Short time.
Yeah. And it literally, when it was Roman Anthony and Garrett Crochet, it was minimum stints.
Yeah.
Minimum 10 day.
I put that more on the front office and the messaging screwing it up than I do just because I'm not a doctor. I don't know a thing.
I throw them all up in there because I don't think they say that if the medical staff hadn't at least hinted at it. I would hope that the front office wasn't so dumb to be like, well, the medical staff is saying he's going to be out for 3 months, but we're thinking 10 days.
We'll push it a little bit.
Like that if they're that deep in it as a front office, like that is bad news. I can't imagine a world where that's the case. Like they can't be that stupid. All right, we got to take a break here. Brought to you by Acadia Federal Credit Union. Their newest location is now open on Wilson Street in Brewer, serving Maine since 1963. With branches in Bangor, Brewer, and Aroostook County. Learn more at acadiafcu.org. Again, Red Sox win 1-2. 2-1 is what I should have said there.
Yeah.
Feels like 1-2 with a 2-run home run by Caleb Durbin, the sweet swinging third baseman.
That number again that I alluded to, the 113 win pace, 39-17 when this offense scratches out 3 runs. 39-17 for a team that has won 11 of 13 and is still 5 games under 500 for the balance of the season. That's
a very small margin that one player with a big swing could have easily fixed.
Yep, seems to be.
But here we are without that, and now they're continuing. I mean, they're winning despite it right now, but you just look at the lineup and you say, like, this is fool's gold.
How sustainable is it?
Not. The answer is not. A Sports Center weather forecast and, I don't know, something else coming up. Welcome back to The Drive, brought to you by Next Home Experience, the market leader. Get looked and get sold with Next Home Experience. Also brought to you by Novus Auto Glass. Call Novus Auto Glass today, 945-6688, to get your windshield repaired or replaced. Mark and I were talking about a few things during the break, and one thing that just came to mind now, Mark, we're talking about the Red Sox and why this is fool's gold. I'll give you a couple more reasons. One, we were talking about the fact that if they wanted to go out and acquire a hitter, the options are quite limited, frankly, because most of the big-name hitters on the market are on the Red Sox that were looking to go elsewhere.
I mean, there aren't bad teams in baseball. That's the issue. So you're looking at the Dodgers, you're looking at the Mets, you're looking at the Rockies.
You got the Giants.
You got the
Dodgers are pretty good.
No, Dodgers are pretty good. I did mean the Giants from that division. Yeah. But there are very few bad teams in baseball to look at to acquire talent from.
Yeah. So Luis Arias would be the biggest one. That would make sense. Hunter Goodman, the catcher / infield guy.
You're not getting him, yeah.
For the Rockies is another name that's been floated out there.
He had like 35 homers as a catcher last year, already has low to mid-20s this year. You'd be trading the farm for him.
Seems like it. And so those are the two big names that went out there. But again, a lot of the Jarren Duran, Wilson Contreras are on the Red Sox already. So you can't deal for them because... And the other thing I was thinking of is a simpler one. The pitching staff is an uncharted territory. What do I mean by that? Well, Ranger Suarez has never gone more than 158 innings, and we when he got signed, we talked a lot about his second half numbers and how bad they've been over the past decade or so.
He's probably not going to go more than 158 this year, though, because this is already IL stint 2 for him.
He's on pace for 175, not including his missed start coming up here. So he would be still on pace after the All-Star break to hit his highest inning total ever.
Because I don't know if he's officially been on it at any other point this year. I can't remember off the top of my head. It seems like he does. Yeah, because if not, they've skipped starts with him, or he hasn't made the full complement of starts that he would at this point for times around the rotation.
But he would, even with the IL stints, not including this one, he would still be getting close to 170 innings. Again, his career long is 158, and his numbers after the All-Star break, we read them out to you when he got when he got signed by the Red Sox. Not good.
They go downhill. But then he perks back up for the playoffs because he takes the second half off.
Right. And then you look at Tolley and Early if he gets healthy, and Jake Bennett, and you say, well, what can you expect from them in terms of an innings? And those guys are all going to just blow by any sort of metric you may have thought that they would. And so you're entered into major uncharted territory with a bunch of guys who are starting pitchers who have never hit these innings totals before. And you run the risk of having dead arm. I mean, Connolly Early, for all we know, his left arm right now
Could be dead.
Right. I mean, that might be what's happening with him because he's going out there every fifth day and he's making more starts than he ever has. He's throwing more innings than he ever has.
Yeah, but who else out there? What other organization out there? And I can't even say this sarcastically without prefacing it beforehand that I am not being serious whatsoever. But what other organization is going to get the trade deadline acquisition of Garrett Crochet and Roman Anthony back in the fold? Because Mark, that's what we're getting sold on.
Roman Anthony, I don't think he's coming back this year. I mean, not
by sending the guy to Florida in the middle of the summer.
Who was it that we had on these airwaves when I did the quick hits and I said, will we see these guys back? And one of them was Roman Anthony. And she immediately, no hesitation, said no.
Lauren Campbell.
Yeah. And then now she said Garrett Crochet, September, like late September, a couple of starts just to kind of get him back out there. There's nothing in the trajectory that they've been on to suggest that either of those guys will be back certainly before the end of August. And at that point, like, you're getting him for a month. Yeah. And it's not like Roman Anthony, I'm still high on the kid, but it's not like he was lighting the world on fire before he went on the IL. Like he was
a struggle.
He was one of many struggling Red Sox hitters that wasn't making a difference on the team. And so, frankly, they've probably been better off with the mishmash of replacements they've used in his place.
I don't know about that.
Than they were with the way he was playing.
The production that he was offering, you mean?
Yeah.
When he was in there.
Now, you would hope that he would have turned it around and turned into, let's say, Caleb Durbin, who has turned it around and, to his credit, is hitting the baseball well. You would hope that he would have worked his way out of this. But if you just extrapolate the numbers he was currently hitting at, it suggests that whatever they used to replace him, he was not significantly better than that at all.
Man, I hope that I hope that hasn't been screwed up, because think of how good he was last year. And not only how good he was the rare baseball player that makes a difference for the whole damn team. He came up and they went from being mediocre sub 500 to the best team in baseball with him parked at the top of the lineup. And that just doesn't happen in that sport. Unless you are Carl Yastrzemski in 1967 or Barry Bonds in
Bryce
2001
Harper.
There are very few cases throughout history of a single guy carrying a team. And when you look at the numbers, he hit 290 with 8 home runs. So you know that it wasn't just him going up there and slugging every day, but there was a different mindset. There was a different confidence level with him at the top of it, commanding respect from opposing pitchers, dominating at-bats, getting on base to begin games. And yeah, I mean, it was unfair to expect the world of him this year, meaning MVP candidacy, all-star is kind of a baseline expectation of what he's going to turn in out there. But based on the 70 games he turned in last year, he completely changed this team around in a way that no one else has. Really, what do I want to say? Since Mookie Betts, it's been a minute.
I hesitate to say this again, but I'm going to, because the parallels are too strong for me not to. And I've said it before, and at the time I said it jokingly, and then it became not jokingly, and now it's really not jokingly. I desperately hope he does not turn into Tristan Casas, because we saw the same trajectory with him. He comes up, he's super successful, he's getting on base at a high clip, he starts to flash some power. They build the team with him as the first baseman of the future. He gets hurt, and he crumbles. He comes back the next year, can't get it together, gets hurt again, and now...
Two different guys between the ears, though.
Yes, I agree with that, but the trajectory of the injury after the small sample of success and Red Sox fans just piling their hopes and dreams on them is all too similar.
Yeah, but what we have to remember about Roman Anthony is this is a... Catch yourself, Mark. Almost had a real bad word there. This is a pinky finger or ring finger we're talking about here.
Yeah.
This isn't, he didn't blow his knee out. He didn't rip his oblique in half.
I mean, Casas has gone down with a bunch of different injuries.
That's what I'm talking
about.
He had a torn oblique last year. He blew out his PCL at the beginning of, or 2 years ago with the oblique. PCL at the beginning of last year, blowing out his knee. It's a ring finger issue with Roman Anthony that's had him on the shelf for over 2 months. So
fingers are pretty important in baseball.
That they are. The guy can't swing a bat without pain. But
that's what I'm saying.
At some point,
you could say the fingers are more important than knees.
At some point, does he have to go under the knife? Do you just say 2026? Forget it. Let's get you ready for 27, which is a terrible thing to do to a guy that this should have been his first full season in baseball.
Yeah, but I mean, he's right now. It almost feels like they're delaying the inevitable.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
It just feels like they're holding out hope that something will turn. But listen, like he went on the IL late May, maybe even middle May. I can't remember the exact date. It was before June.
Yeah.
It might have even been early May, frankly, but I think it was mid-May. And we haven't, like, there's been no improvement that I have heard, that I have, in the Red Sox you would think would be very excited to say if there was some improvement, which tells me that there hasn't been. At some point, you've got to say it's not improving. What are the other options that we have? Because this is just not good.
I cannot find his injury date because all that AI can find for me now is when he was transferred to the 60-day IL on June 28th.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was middle of May. Like, it was pretty early on in the season. Obviously, it's been a long time since then. And you can say it's just a pinky, but the pinky is a very important finger when you're trying to hold a baseball bat.
He originally exited the game on May 4th.
Okay, so it was early May. So I was off by a little bit there.
Month of May, month of June. We're now into July.
Yeah, so it's been 2 months and a little over 2 months. And I mean, has there been any progress?
Well, according to Bo Sox Injection, Roman Anthony's hand specialist delivers mixed update for Red Sox that doesn't help much. That's the headline. I'll let you know on the other side of the break what it said in there.
All right. We're brought to you by Casella. Good pay, good people, good life. Find your place at powerofhardwork.com. Is this a legitimate website?
No, yeah. This is one of the main blogs, websites.
Okay.
Whatever you want to call it.
Because that headline was just a mishmash of
no.
nothing.
It's that's kind of what we're getting out of his finger, just a mishmash of nothing. The quote here from Red Sox Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow on this morning's edition of the Greg Hill Show, quote, Dr. Laurie kind of confirmed the diagnosis and treatment plans that our doctors had identified that Roman's been on. Unfortunately, this is just an injury that is taking longer than expected to heal, but by all accounts, it sounds like we are on the right track, unquote. That sounds like Craig Breslow being like, hey, we didn't screw up an injury for once, guys. Our staff, our medical team had it right.
Well, we were doing it. Was it him that had it wrong? Who was it from the Red Sox that went out and said it was one thing?
It was Kennedy on that show, on the Greg Hill Show.
Yeah, that was not good. Also brought to you by Dairy Queen of Bangor with the new DQ breakfast collection. You can enjoy it Cinnamon Toast Crunch dipped cone, Fruity Pebble Shake, Choco Frosted Donut Blizzard Treat, whether it's breakfast time or not. Visit 668 Broadway Bangor. DQ, happy, tastes good. So there you go. The update gave us nothing. There was no update to update.
The update
about that update.
Yeah, you said it perfectly.
Yep. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have all kinds of fun stuff. We'll talk about what's going to happen tomorrow here on The Drive, and then we'll have, eventually, buzzer beaters. Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla right there. Crazy Joe, talking about the trade of Jaylen Brown and how right now he's still processing it, which makes sense. Takes a while. Yeah. We're brought to you by McDelivery through Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. You can get 2 sausage McMuffins with egg, 2 hotcakes, 4 hash browns, and 4 small hot coffees for just $19.99. The bundle is over 40% off, and for a limited time, order at your local family-owned McDonald's on Main Street, Union Street in Bangor, and Wilson Street in Brewer. I bet you could take the sausage McMuffins, put the hash browns in the center, and then wrap it with the hotcakes and make yourself a real tasty little treat. Dip it in some of the syrup.
Doesn't sound bad right there.
That's what I'm saying. Also brought to you by Goslin's Bakery, 334 Harlow Street in Bangor. Grab a breakfast sandwich there on an English muffin or croissant, plus legendary donuts and pastries made since 1945, or visit the new Goslin's Bakery in Delhi next to Hannaford in Brewer. So we have a couple of minutes left. You heard Joe Mazzulla right there. Still processing. He'll be processing for a little while.
Still processing, as are we all. Saw this earlier today from, I believe it was either Celtics blog or CNS Media. October 1, when that date rolls around, Payton Pritchard becomes eligible to sign a 3-year, $67 million contract extension with the Celtics. Based on the current state of the roster, after the Jaylen Brown trade, do they have to sign him to that when he becomes eligible?
Have to?
22.4 million? 22.333.
He's one that I have a hard time figuring out what he would get on the open market, because he's a knockdown 3-point shooter, and obviously he's good off the dribble, but his size, I don't know.
It's almost kind of one that, like, you want to see how he starts the season, right? With no Jaylen Brown, with him as the ball-dominant guy
see
in the
how good he can
backcourt.
really be.
Because 22.3 becomes a bargain in NBA terms real quick. So if he produces beyond that next year, then you could be in an even worse situation.
Right. On my buzzer beater, they did a study on people and judging names. Do you want to take a guess as to the most judged male and female name in 2026?
Is it off the wall or a common one?
No, they're pretty common ones.
Joseph and Jane.
You just went with the J's.
They were just the first two that came to my brain.
So which name are people frequently called when they're being maybe a bit obnoxious and want to speak to your manager?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Karen.
Yep.
Is the most judged first name for women. Chad for men.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the Pete Davidson sketch on SNL where he was Chad, and Chad is just kind of like really dumb. Chads are not dumb.
Yeah. If you're a Chad out there, we are not speaking to you.
No.
It's
frankly,
something about the sound, it just lends to not even dumbness is what I'm talking about. Just Chads they gotta make the extra effort to be kind.
And I work with two Karens, and they're two of the sweetest women I've ever met. Like they're super nice. So.
That name got a bad rap.
It
that
did.
Got a real bad one.
It did. Like I feel bad almost for them. All right, back at it tomorrow. Jim is going to be
at Freshies.
You
may
there you
remote
go.
with Ben Barr and Amy Bashon.
There you go. That's tomorrow.